Hi guys, I wanted to provide an example online just so you can reference a video and walk through with the direct guidance of how to find the quartiles, the range, the interquartile range, and drawing a box and whisker plot. So I'm going to do this one massive example just so you can reference it in case you are still struggling with this concept. All right, so if you remember, quartiles is just going to be like finding the median. Our quartile 2 actually is the median. So hopefully you remember from 9.2 and 9.3 that our very first step when we're finding the median is you must order the data. So you should be doing that first, please. So let's go ahead and go through this list and put them in order. So we're going to start off with 5. I believe that's the lowest. I see 7. I see 8. I see another 8. And another 8. 9, 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, and did I get them all? I believe so. So once you do that, you are going to count up how many values you have because that will impact what you are going to do, whether you have an odd or even number in your set. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, we have 13 values in our set, which means we have an odd number. That means we're going to have one directly in the center. So we are going to go ahead and find that median first. And remember, our median is called quartile 2. They're the same thing. Median and quartile 2 are the same thing. So let's go ahead and find that. So since we had 13 values, we can do 13 divided by 2, which is going to give us 6.5. So that means our middle value will be at 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if you want to count and double check, you should have the same number on each side to make sure it's truly the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is truly the median. So quartile 2 is 9. It's as simple as that when you have an odd number. If we had an even number, remember we would take those two center values and find the mean of them in order to find the value in between them. All right, so let's move on to quartile 1. The first thing we're going to have to do for this is split our data set. So anytime we have an odd number, we split our data set around the median. We do not include the median in the data set. Although if we had an even number, we would just split the data set right in half. So now we have our values over here on the lower half of our data set and the values over here on the upper half of our data set. Hopefully you remember that quartile 1 is the median of your lower half and quartile 3 is the median of your upper half. So this is the data over here on the lower side that we will use to find our quartile 1, which is the median of our lower half of data. All right, so we have an even amount here, so we're going to use the process of finding the two center values and then finding the mean of those. So I find that 8 and 8 are the two values in the middle. So we need to find the value in between that, and we do that by finding the mean. Of course, this is going to be an obvious one. Anytime you have the same value, it's going to be obvious that same value is in between, but I'm going to prove it to you with work. So 8 plus 8 is 16. We divide that by 2 to get 8, and 8 is our quartile 1. We're going to use the same process over on the right, our upper half of the data set, to find our quartile 3, which is the median of the upper half. So first I find the two center values are 10 and 11. And to find the value in between that, which is the median there, we need to find the mean of those values. So add the two values, and we're dividing by 2 since we're only talking about those two values. We get 21 divided by 2. And when we do the math there, we get 10.5. Remember, you are free to use a calculator as long as you're showing your work in the process. All right, so our first step is done. We found the quartiles. Now we are going to find the range of our data set. So, in case you needed a reminder, the range is the difference between our max and our min value. So our highest value minus our lowest is going to give us our range. So we're just going to take our highest value over here, which is 12, and subtract our lowest value over here, which is 5. And it's that simple. Our range is 6. So check on the range. Let's move on to the next one, which is interquartile range. So interquartile range is also called IQR a lot of times to abbreviate interquartile range. And just like our range, it's the highest value minus the lowest value, but those values in accordance with our quartiles. So our highest quartile, which is quartile 3, minus our lowest quartile, which is quartile 1, that's the formula to find it. And that's because it's the difference between our biggest quartile and our smallest quartile. So just plug in your values that you already found. 10.5, which was our quartile 3, minus our quartile 1, which is 8. And when we do the math there, we get 1.5. So that is a small interquartile range right there. All right, so we have done everything so far. Our last step is drawing a box and whisker plot. So what you need to know here is what is included in our box and whisker plot, and that's called the 5-number summary. And the 5-number summary are these 5 things: our minimum, our maximum, and our quartiles 1, 2, and 3. So our minimum is 5, our maximum is 12, and we already have our quartiles 1, 2, and 3 up there, which are 8, 9, and 10.5. So let's go ahead and scale evenly. In this case, I'm going to go by ones because our values are so close to each other. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oops, I'm kind of cutting it close at the end, but 12. Squeeze them in there. Sorry that they get smaller. Usually you try to scale as evenly as you can. But in this case, I am going to just go with it. All right, so let's put our minimum at 5. You're going to put it above. Q1 at 8. Q2 at 9. Q3 at 10.5, so in between 10 and 11. And our max is at 12. You're just going to draw a line right through those. And then remember, your quartiles are like tiles. They're boxes. So we're going to draw a box around our quartiles. And that is it. We just made our box and whisker plot. Remember, our box and whisker plot is going to tell us where the majority of our data lies. So our quartiles, the majority of our data is between 8 and 10.5, as you can see in this data set right here. And it's showing our minimum is a lot lower than that, all the way at 5, and our max is closer to the majority of our data. All right, I hope that helps you on your future examples.